Crockett, you're a good guy, but I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna take you down today.
Scout, watch out. I'll be right on your heels, and I'll be schooling you the whole way.
Screw you, Crockett.
You know, I might have to let Scout win some of them just, you know, so he builds that confidence.
This is Blade Center.
Welcome to Blade Center, brought to you by Blade HQ. Jaron and Mark here, and we've got a competition that's gonna knock your socks off.
That's right. We've rounded up two great personalities from the outdoor YouTube community, the Late Boy Scout versus Crocket20. I think this is going to be a good one.
It's gonna be one for the books. Let's take a look at our competitors. We've got Crocket weighing in at 27,000 subscribers. He's bearded and he's from Utah.
Also from Utah, also with a beard, Scout with 57,000 subs. Clearly, Scout has to be the favorite in this. Crockett's the underdog with nearly half as many subscribers, so how is he going to fare in today's competition?
You know, even though Scout's the heavyweight here, Crocket really knows his stuff. The guy knows what he's doing. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Scout's fans jump ship over to Crockett's channel.
That would be interesting. I guess the competition will tell. So, what do we have in store for today?
Today's competition, weapon of choice, the multi-tool. We have 4 stages, all timed. The winner of those stages will receive 10 points, and the runner-up will receive a percentage of those points.
That's right, and in round 1, we're going to be testing the blade. Sometimes that's all you have out in the field is what you have on your multi-tool. So, they're going to have to cut 10 aluminum cans all the way in half, then sharpen 10 stakes, as well as cut 5 times completely through a 2-inch stack of packing paper.
Alright, let's get out there and check out all the action.
See how they do.
I'm the Late Boy Scout, and the multi-tool I selected is the SOG Power Lock. I chose this tool because it's got some pretty interesting features. I've got a lot of experience with Leathermans and other multi-tools, but not a ton of experience with SOG, so I wanted to try this one out today.
I'm Crocket20, and the multi-tool that I selected today is the Leatherman OHT. Why I selected this one, I'll be honest, it's a little bit of eye candy there with the black and coyote tan. It's pretty cool.
It's got an interesting sort of multi-plier thing going on here where it actually multiplies the force that you put on it. I thought that was a pretty interesting feature. It's also got a knife, a saw, a lot of other good features on it. Looking forward to trying it out.
But I also like the function of the deploying pliers. I thought that was kind of neat. And another thing I really like about it, we'll see how it works, is the tools that it has are all accessible on the outside. So I'm hoping that's going to come in handy.
So thinking about stage 1, knowing what I was going into, I knew there was that stack of paper, there were all those cans, and then there were the sticks. So going into that, the beginning part of that, I actually started sawing through the whole stack of paper, sort of from the top to the bottom, or I was going to attempt to do that. And I noticed right away that that was not going to go very well. It was moving very slowly, cutting through, I don't know how many sheets are there, but all those sheets all at once. It was just a lot, too much to ask of that knife and too much to ask of that task, really. So instead what I did was I used the knife in more of a drawing fashion, kind of drawing it down that line. And again, the first portion of it was not too difficult because I was able to put my knee on the rest of the stack and then kind of hold the piece that I was slicing off and just slice away and slice away and slice away.
Going through stage 1, I did have quite a bit of advantage because I sat on the sidelines while Scout did his first. So I realized that paper cutting I thought was going to be a lot easier, indeed was going to be more difficult. One thing I did on that first stage is that last section I noticed was really hard for the Late Boy Scout to cut. So I started with the last section I planned to cut, gave it a few swipes first, and then went the other side and then ran back. I think that helped a little bit. That paper too just starts to unfold and it becomes a giant mess, so it's kind of fun to deal with. I hit that paper quite aggressive because I saw earlier that it was a lot more difficult. I mean, you think at home just testing your blade, testing how sharp your blade is by running it through some phone book paper. So I kind of, that's not going to be that hard. but when I saw Scout go through it, it's a lot harder than it looks. So I decided just to go in there and really dig down. But at the same time, I was trying not to take that blade and dig it into the dirt, because the dirt out here is just full of gravel and I didn't want to ding up that blade. But yeah, I kind of got aggressive with it anyway.
Yeah, I was getting pretty frustrated towards the end on that paper. It was, I was trying not to just tear it apart, but I knew that would be the most effective thing to do. So I was kind of separating it with my hands as I went and trying to make sure that I used the knife all the way through, because that's really what the contest is about. But yeah, it was definitely kind of a frustrating thing, because if I had just sort of pulled it all apart with my hands, maybe it would have been a bit easier. It would have been a lot more ragged and jagged. If I was really trying to create the slices that I wanted to create, that wouldn't have worked, obviously.
Towards the end, when it started to kind of splay everywhere and the blade started to dull on the belly here, that's when I started getting a little bit frustrated. In fact, so much I actually, I was trying to go fast, but at the same time I was trying to go at a safe speed, but I still put this tip, which is a really nice tip by the way, just stuck it in the finger a little bit. So that was kind of a good wake-up call. Okay, slow down, don't be so frustrated, and just concentrate at the task at hand.
Slicing through the cans, it was pretty easy. The knife just peeled through that aluminum, no problem, it's nice and thin. The only challenge to that, I guess, if you're cutting through a can, is cutting through that last little bit that you never quite line it up as you're cutting through the can. So you try to spend some time and actually cut through that last little bit, or just pull it apart. And you know, I did pull some of them apart, others I tried to bend and sort of cut through. So if I'd had 10 or 20 more cans, I might have developed a system there that was a little more efficient. But as it was, I managed to get through all of them, and the knife did just fine.
The stakes were fun to deal with. I chose to go with the reverse grip on that knife and try to use that as leverage to cut off as much as I could to try and make that a little bit quicker. Out here doing this competition, it got kind of fun because you just really focused on the task at hand, and what I did is the rock that we used to pound the stakes in got buried in all of my papers, so when it came time to use that, I had a tough time finding it.
I figured the sticks were probably the last thing I should do, sharpening those stakes and then driving them into the ground, because that probably required the more kind of a gross force to it, and would probably get accomplished regardless of how sharp the blade still was. So as I looked at that big pile of sticks, I tried to identify pieces that had some fairly straight sections in them that I could easily break off and use that to sort of start a stake with. And I knew that my job was going to be somewhat easy. All I had to do was really get a length of stick and then sharpen one end and then pound it into the ground. It's not that hard.
And then the cans, the blade did great going through those cans. In fact, the blade overall, you know, I'm typically used to something a little bit bigger blade-wise in a multi-tool, so I thought, I wonder how this is going to work. But honestly, you've got so much handle on this thing that I found even cutting through that paper, you could really bear down on it and get some good leverage. And done.
And I also probably didn't need to spend as much time as I did on the actual tips. I try to get them sharpened to a point rather than just get a point there that will drive into the ground, because these sticks are small enough that almost any of them will go into the ground as they are. But I wanted to, again, use the tool, test the tool, get a good point on each stick there, and then get it into the ground. Now, as long as it took me, there's no doubt in my mind that I went way faster than Crocket's gonna be able to go. That guy is choking on my dust right now.
All right, let's take a look at the times for stage 1. Crocket did it in 9 minutes 53 seconds, and Scout did it in 12 minutes 52 seconds, giving Crocket 10 points and Scout 7.
Well, it's still anybody's game. I will say I think Crocket had a big advantage going second. He was able to see what Scout did, and that way he was able to complete some of those cutting tasks a little bit more aggressively.
Now they both got hung up on that paper, but they each came up with a strategy and completed the task.
Well, in round 2, they're going to have to field sharpen those knives now and then cut a 1 inch by 1 inch section of arm hair.
Let's take a look.
All right, and we're off. The race begins.
Now they're both using a field sharpener with a fine grit.
Yeah, both fine grits. I think Crocket has an Arkansas stone and Scout has a DMT diamond card sharpener.
Notice Crocket's kind of using a circular motion.
Yeah, and Scout has that more of a strop. Looks like he's going in for an early test.
Doesn't look like it's gonna cut it.
No, not at all. He's not happy with that edge.
Crocket's just taking some time,
Yeah.
got some patience.
Just working that stone, got that circular motion down.
Scout's testing that again. Doesn't look like it's sharp enough.
Yeah. Well, Crocket now, I think he's about ready to, it looks like he's going to go in and test that edge out. Seems like it's popping those hairs off. It's pressing down pretty hard though.
That's sharp enough to cut, but not necessarily where you want it.
Yeah. I tell you, Scout is just struggling there. He does not like the edge he's getting. Actually, he's not getting an edge, really.
Crocket, he's got it.
Yeah, he's just about done. All right, so Scout does continue to try to sharpen it up. He was not able to. Let's go out and see what he has to say about that performance.
What the deal was, but I just could not either get the right angle or get the right kind of a fine edge on that to really be able to shave hair. Just didn't work out for me.
Wow, really big surprise that Scout wasn't able to pull off sharpening up that knife to get his arm hair cut off. So, in fact, because of that, he got 0 points. That means it's 7-20 right now.
Yeah, but he really has the opportunity to pull that in the next stage. Since Crocket won, he's going to be going first, so Scout can really watch and see what's going on and hopefully get the upper hand here.
Yeah, I think that'll be a big advantage to him. Well, round 3 is target building. They need to make 3 targets using limited supplies. What do they have out there?
They've got some PVC pipe. They've got some 1x. I think they've got some wire out there, maybe some zip ties. Some just really, really constricted stuff, but enough to build some targets.
Yeah. Well, they'll be able to use a lot of the other functions on their multi-tool, so let's check out and see what they did.
I know I'm still gonna win. I may be behind in points, but hey man, other people have come from behind and won like crazy before, and that's what I'm gonna do today. 3, 2, 1.
What I did to make the target first is I tried to measure out the 2 pieces of wood we got into thirds, because we have 3 targets that we're making, so I need 2 stands. Next thing was take the saw, cut that.
You know, going in, I knew I was behind, so that definitely kind of put some pressure on me for building these targets. Felt like I needed to have a plan right away. I needed to just jump into that plan and implement it. Whether it turned out great or didn't turn out very well, I needed to jump in and just stick to the plan that I had in my head. I had my initial design, the idea in my head was to kind of make these into a type of a tripod setup for each target. I knew those would work pretty well with the wood, but then I had this PVC that I also had to use somehow, and that was all I had for my third target. So I had to make the PVC work for the third one. I decided to go ahead and try to put the PVC together first. I feel like the PVC is probably the weakest of the 3 targets that I built, but I think with a little bit of reinforcing of tape and maybe a couple of other things, it would probably hold up fine, at least for the shooting that we're going to do today.
Again, the saw didn't do as well as I'd hoped. It did okay. Next thing I did was cut the PVC pipe down.
I'm actually surprised at how well that's going through.
You know, one thing I really liked on this one is taking those pliers out. So I do have a Leatherman, but it's the time you unfold and then it exposes the pliers. This one, that is cool. That is such a cool feature. I think it comes with some drawbacks about some items in here, but that feature in and of itself is a cool one. So popping those out to cut that wire was great. And then cutting through the wire, didn't take a lot of effort. It was pretty standard, pretty normal.
Well, the wood worked a lot better than the PVC. It responded a lot better to the tape and the duct tape that I was using. I figured I use a lot of duct tape. The reason why is, you know, when duct tape's there, why bother using anything else? It's the miracle rope, right? It's a miracle tool. It's the original multi-tool. You go into that, you use some duct tape, and it'll hold almost anything together. It'll help you build almost anything. So I thought, duct tape is there. Use the duct tape as much as you possibly can. And it responded well, it worked well with the wood. I think that the wood sort of tripods that I built are probably going to be more stable than the PVC one will be. They're balanced a little better. They're just structured a little better overall. I did incorporate some PVC into the wood design as well, mainly to sort of give the actual cardboard target something to hold on to, a little bit of a right angle to attach to. But yeah, I'm real happy with the way the wood targets came out.
So the end where I hung up the targets, I used the wire. I was already cutting the wire, and so I think I just kept going because it was already there. The zip ties probably would have been a little bit faster because then I wouldn't have to twist them up top. But honestly, I think I just got in the zone and I was like, okay, I've got the wood, the PVC, and the wire, and that's what I'm using. Actually, I made the first target first to kind of do that as a trial run to see, hey, is this gonna work? And it did, and then I tried to start batching the next processes on the following 2 targets. And the wire cutters work great, and I think those last 2 targets, I'd have to go back and look, made those quicker than I did the first one. You know, I'm in the lead right now, so coming into this, I feel pretty confident, but having completed it, it was a fun stage, but honestly, I think I took way too much time on this one. I think the late boy scout, he might crush me on this one, we'll see.
The saw did really well. It's nice and aggressive, tore through that wood as fast as I needed it to, did well on the PVC also. Speaking about the saw alone, I would say that it's a really good saw on the SOG Power Lock. It's got great teeth to it, very sharp, really digs into that wood. So I think that, yeah, I think that I pulled it out with these 3 targets. I think I did pretty well.
All right, let's check out the times for stage 3. Crocket did it in 18.5, and Scout took 22 minutes and 3 seconds to do it, giving Crocket the full 10 points and Scout 7.
And another one to Crocket. I really thought Scout was going to pull that out. He knew what he needed to do going into it. He had a little bit more complicated idea and I think that maybe cost him some time, as well as having to remake that first PVC. And then he just got caught up in the details. He just needed to go in and get the job done no matter how pretty it looked. And I think that perfectionism maybe cost him this round.
Yeah, even though Crockett's targets are a little ugly, a little monster looking, he really bulldozed through that, and I think that gave him the upper hand.
Yeah, he got the job done. In fact, I have to say, I really like that one-hand opening with the Leatherman.
Yeah, but the saw on that SOG cut right through the wood like butter.
Yeah. Well, Scout has one more opportunity, and it's the best one, the final round, the shooting stage. There are 3 stations, and they're set up at 7 yards, 7 yards, and 20 yards. And depending on how accurate they are, they're going to add time to their opponent. So they get 3 shots. The first 2 targets are worth a minute onto their opponent's time, and the last one is worth 2 minutes for each shot. So
What do you say we get out there and see how accurate these guys really are?
let's do it.
Today I was using this is a Glock 19 Gen 4, it's USA produced. Had a little bit of history and hiccups with this gun, but they seem to smooth out. But overall, I really like the gun. The course of fire was a fun one, a short little run. The first 2 targets I did great on. The last target, I missed 2 out of my 3 shots in that 8-inch circle. It just comes down to rushing the shots. We were shooting cold, that was the first round, so there's my excuses. But really what it comes down to is just fundamentals and slowing down and squeezing that trigger. So this OHT, I really like the functionality of it. I love how those pliers come out. I like the ability to get to the tools on the outside. The drawback is you don't have as many tools because of that mechanism of the pliers being able to go in and out.
All right, so today the gun that I brought is this one right here, the Smith & Wesson M&P 9. I've had this gun for quite a little while now. I like it a lot, I've shot it a lot. A friend of mine has shot it even more than me, taking it down to front sight for some training. It's done fantastically. It's a very reliable, pretty accurate, very good gun. I like it a lot. On this stage on the shooting course, I felt like I did okay. Probably could have sped it up a little bit. However, I was able to keep my shots mostly in the ring where they needed to be. That long shot, that furthest shot at the end there, I definitely could have taken a little more time. And probably if I'd done a little bit of dry fire practice and also a little bit of a warm up beforehand to get a little more comfortable with where my shots were going to place, I probably could have predictively gotten my shots into that circle rather than putting 2 of them out the way I did. So SOG Power Lock is a pretty full-featured multi-tool. It's got everything that you would want in a full-size multi-tool, and it's got some pretty unique features, one of them being a nice needle point here at the top. That's something that SOG offers that a lot of other multi-tool makers don't. Also, the jaws on it do actually sort of multiply with these gears that it has right here that tend to kind of crank down and give you more force than you would get on almost any other multi-tool. There are definitely some features on this that set it apart from other multi-tools.
All right, both those guys were pretty accurate shooters. In fact, they matched each other shot for shot on each of the targets. First one, they hit 3 times each. Second one, 3 times each. And the last one, once each. So what'd you think about that stage?
I thought Scout could have afforded to slow down on that last target. I mean, he did take a breath, but if there was going to be any moment to make up some time, it was right there.
Yeah, I agree. He needed to win that round, and since there was no bonuses for time and accuracy, means it came down to who did it fastest. And again, Crockett, he won it with 20 seconds. Boy Scout, 26 seconds. So The underdog today swept the round, 40 points overall. Runner-up, Scout with 22.
Both really good guys, both really good multi-tools. In fact, you can check them out right here.
Yeah, and if you want to see some other recommendations, check these ones out.
And make sure you tune in for next month's competition because we're pretty sure someone's gonna bleed.
All right, well, let's send it back out, see what the winner has to say.
Woo! Good job, man.
Got the full 40 points.
Well done. Well done.
Lots of fun.
Right on. It's a
So
good time.
Lots of fun, guys. Check out the Lake Boy Scouts channel, Blade HQ. Thank you guys for inviting us out. That was a lot of fun. That's ultimately what I do this for. It's a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. I say the same thing. You know, guys, if you have not subscribed to Crocket20 already, here's a lot of reasons why to do it, okay? You did a great job today. Blade HQ, thank you very much for having us out. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody.
See you.
This is Blade Center.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Probably
25 points behind. 45,000 points behind. Might as well just quit now. He might be better than me right now, but as a shot, he's a better shooter. But as a better person, generally speaking, I think I'm generally a nicer guy all around. Screw you, Crocket.